All right, y'all, we are back with another video, and here we go again with corrupt Jack Smith. Seems like Jack Smith then got even more bad news, and that's exactly what Jack Smith needs. He needs to get bad news, even more bad news. And some of the more bad news that he needs is to be kicked off this case. He's the one that needs to be in jail for all the lies, all the threats that he's been doing to Judge Eileen Cannon. This man should have been gone. But yet he's sitting in court trying to lie on Donald Trump, trying to get a trial before election and all type of stuff. We are all sick of Jack Smith. I know I am. And I can tell you that now. So we definitely finna go ahead and get into this article right here, because it seems like the Supreme Court, it seems like they are favoring in Trump's direction right now. So they said that Jack Smith had a bad day at the Supreme Court, and it seems like Donald Trump team had a good day, which is great news for us. So like I said, make sure y'all please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Thank you to everybody that's been watching the entire video. I would really appreciate everybody that does that, everybody that always watches the video all the way to the end, and the ones that always let me know in the comment section, say, hey, Adogg, I watched the entire video. I would really appreciate it, because YouTube would share it and more people get to see my reaction. All right, so I appreciate everybody that watched the entire video. And like I said, please subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date with everything, and please hit that like button. Hitting that like button is very important. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this article. So as y'all can see right here at the headline, Donald Trump had a fantastic day in the Supreme Court today. It's unclear if the court would explicitly hold that Trump could commit crimes with impunity, or if they'll just delay his trial so long that it doesn't matter. So that's the headline right there. So let's go ahead and jump straight into it, y'all. Thursday's arguments in Trump versus United States was a disaster for Special Counsel Jack Smith and for anyone who believes that the President of the United States should be subject to prosecution if they commit a crime. At least 5 of the court's Republicans seem eager to, at the very least, permit Trump to delay his federal criminal trial for attempting to steal the 2020 election until after the November's election, and the one GOP appointee who seemed to hedge the most, Chief Justice John Roberts, also seemed to think that Trump enjoys at least some immunity from criminal prosecution. Let's keep it going. Much of the court's Republican majority, moreover, seemed eager not simply to delay Trump's trial until after the election, but to give him extraordinary broad immunity from criminal prosecution should he be elected once again. Justice Brett Kavanaugh, for example, argued that that when a president exercises his official powers, he cannot be charged under any federal criminal statute at all, unless that statute contains explicit language saying that it applies to the president. As Michael Dreeben, the lawyer arguing on behalf of Smith's prosecution team, told the court, only 2 federal laws meet this standard, so Kavanaugh's rule would amount to near complete immunity for anything a president did while exercising their executive authority. Justice Samuel Alito, meanwhile, played his traditional role as the court's most deceptive advocate for whatever position the Republican Party prefers. At one point, Alito even argued that permitting Trump to be prosecuted for attempting to overthrow the 2020 presidential election would lead us into a cycle that destabilizes our democracy, because future presidents who lose elections will mimic Trump's criminal behavior in order to remain in office and avoid being prosecuted by their successor. In fairness, not all of the justices, or even all the Republican justices, engage in such drizzy feats of reverse logic. Roberts did express some concern that Trump lawyer John Sayre's arguments could prevent the president from being prosecuted if he took a bribe. And this one here is coming from Justice Amy Coney Barrett. He said, meanwhile, pointing to the fact that Sayre drew a distinction between prosecuting a president for official behavior, which Sayre said is not allowed, and prosecuting a president for his private conduct, which Sayre conceded is permitted. Barrett also argued that many of the charges against Trump, such as his work with private lawyers and political consultants to overthrow the 2020 election, qualify as private conduct and thus could still be prosecuted. Still, many of the Republican justices, include Barrett, indicated that the case will have to be returned to the trial court to determine which of the allegations against Trump qualifies as official and which qualify as private. Barrett also indicated that Trump could then appeal the trial court's ruling, meaning that his actual criminal trial will be delayed for many more months as that issue makes its way through the appeal courts. See, the main thing is that with Jack Smith, he's trying to rush this stuff now. That's what, if y'all notice, everybody's that's going after Donald Trump and want these trials, they want the trials now because they know if this was to happen, Trump's going to appeal it, and then they're just going to delay it even more. That's what Jack Smith don't want. So that's why we've been seeing that Jack Smith has been constantly, just read the articles online, how him and his team just been going after the judge. Just going after the judge. Now he don't want Trump to have immunity. Like Jack Smith, like I want everybody to put in the comment section, just like I said last video, Jack Smith for jail 2024. Jack Smith needs to be in jail. This man is a habitual liar. This man is a straight liar. This is all he's doing. Like him, Letitia James, Fannie Willis, all they trying to do is use Trump just so they can make themselves more and more money. That's all they trying to do. And we are all sick of this crap by Jack Smith. This man needs to go. We are sick of him and his lies, all his threats he been making. Everybody that sides with Trump, he tries to go after them because he feel like Judge Aileen Cannon is a Trump supporter. So he's been going after her, trying to get her removed so he can get him a Democrat judge in there. He been trying all type of stuff. That's the reason why I said we are all sick of Jack Smith. This man needs to go. Let's get back to it. In that world, the likelihood that Trump will be tried and a verdict reached before the November election is approximately 0%. The court's decision in the Trump case, in other words, is likely to raise the stakes of this already impossible high-stakes election considerably, as Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson warned the risk inherent in giving presidents immunity from the criminal law is that someone like Trump will be emboldened to commit crimes with abandon. It's unclear if the court is going to go as far as to definitively rule that the president of the United States is allowed to do crimes, but they appear likely to make it impossible for the criminal justice system to actually do anything about Trump's attempt to overthrow the election, at least before Trump could be elected president again. Even if Trump technically loses this case, he still wins. See, that's another part that Jack Smith don't like. He don't like that. So let's read what's up under that. Under current law, all government officials enjoy some immunity from civil lawsuits. The president, meanwhile, is on a short list of government officials alongside judges and prosecutors who enjoy particularly robust immunity from such suits. But the law has never been understood to immunize any government official from criminal prosecution. Moreover, while no president has been prosecuted prior to Trump, judges and prosecutors who enjoy the same level of immunity from civil suits as the president are routinely prosecuted for taking bribes or for otherwise violating the criminal law during their official conduct in office. For some reason, like they said, like some of these judges who be taking like bribes, won't they check Judge Goran and Judge Marchand? Won't they check them? Because obviously these two judges just hate Donald Trump guts. And a lot of times I'll be looking, why are they trying to take Donald Trump to trial if they already know what they're going to do to him? You don't like the man. You got your Judge Marchand got his daughter going after Donald Trump, saying all type of slanderous things about him. And then Donald Trump can't say anything back. That right there is just ridiculous. Now, one time how this judge say, hey, I'm going to tell my daughter to stop saying this about Trump. He's not doing that. He want his daughter to do that. But he don't want Trump to say anything to his daughter, though. So that's why he placing this gag order on him so Trump can't say anything. This right here is just crazy. A lot of these crooked judges need to be checked. They need to be removed. They need to be fired. They the one need to be in jail for trying to do Joe Biden's dirty work. This is crazy. Trying to do Joe Biden's dirty work to try to see if they can help Joe Biden just ease across the finish line. Well, it's not going to work. So let's get to it. For this reason, I've argued that his immunity case was primarily about delaying Trump's trial until after the election. The arguments for presidential immunity from the criminal law are so weak and their implications are so shocking. Trump's lawyer told a lower court that unless Trump had first been successfully impeached, he cannot be prosecuted even if he ordered the military to assassinate one of his political rivals, that it seemed unimaginable that even this Supreme Court would buy Trump's immunity arguments. After Thursday morning, however, a decision that merely delays Trump's criminal trial until after the election is probably the best possible outcome Smith could hope for. There appears to be a very real chance that 5 justices will rule that the President of the United States may use his official powers in order to commit very serious crimes. Even the best case scenario for Smith, moreover, is still an enormous victory for Donald Trump. If Trump prevails in the 2024 election, he can order the Justice Department to drop the charges against him or even potentially pardon himself. And regardless of what happens in November, the American people will go to the polls without the clarity of a criminal trial, which determines whether or not Trump is guilty of attempting to drive a knife into U.S. democracy. See, this is the part where Jack Smith is upset. See, because he trying to get Donald Trump prosecuted before the election, because he know once Donald Trump get elected, it's over with. He knows that. That's why he's been crying, pouting, sending threats out to the judges, all type of stuff. Almost every time that Jack Smith go to court, he's crying. Oh, his whole team, they hollering. Oh, we got to get the judge up out of there. We got to get that judge up out of there. We don't like Judge Aileen Cannon because they want Judge Aileen Cannon to be a judge in Goron in New York. They want Judge Aileen Cannon to be a judge in Mershon. They want her to be crooked, which Judge Aileen Cannon has been the only fair judge that's been calling it like right down the middle. Like she'll call out both sides, not just placating to one. And that's what Jack Smith don't like. Boy, I'll tell you the truth. This case is likely to turn on the difference between official and private behavior. Then they say right here, Trump's core argument is that the president is immune from prosecution for official acts taken while he was in office. All 6 of the court's Republicans showed at least some sympathy for this argument, though some displayed more sympathy than others. It appears likely that at least 4 justices Clarence Thomas, Alito, Kavanaugh, and Neil Gorsuch will give Trump the immunity he seeks or apply a rule like Kavanaugh's requirement that criminal statutes don't apply to the president unless they explicitly say so, which will have virtually the same effect. At one point, Thomas even suggested that the Justice Department decision to appoint Smith to investigate Trump was unconstitutional. Roberts and Barrett, meanwhile, were a little more enigmatic, but both at the very least floated, sending the case back down to the lower court for more delay. Chief Justice Roberts, for what it's worth, did express some concern that the line between an official action and a private one is difficult to draw. Early in the oral argument, he asked Soar about a president who appoints someone as an ambassador because that appointee gave the president a bribe. While making the appointment is an official act, taking a bribe is not. Roberts worried that prosecutors would be unable to secure a bribery conviction if they were forbidden from telling the jury about the official act taken by the president in order to secure that bribe. Barrett, meanwhile, spent a considerable amount of time walking Sarah through the actual allegations in the indictment against Trump, and she even got him to admit that some of the charges, such as consulting with private lawyers and a private political consultant on how to certify fake electors, amount to private conduct that could be prosecuted. Later in the argument, however, Barrett seemed to lay out how the process of determining which parts of the indictment can survive should play out. Under her suggested framework, the trial court will have to go through the indictment and sort the official from the private. The trial would then be put on a hold while Trump appeals whatever the trial court says to higher courts, in a process that is likely to take months or even longer to sort out. By the time that was all done, the November election would be long past, and Trump could very well be back in office and emboldened to commit more crimes in the very way that the Justin Jacksons warned about. Boy, they something else, ain't it? I'll tell you the truth. Indeed, the striking thing about Thursday's argument is that most of the Republicans just appear so overwhelmed by concern that a future president might be hampered by fears of being prosecuted once they leave office, that they can completely ignore the risk that an unprosecutionable president might behave like a tyrant. Gorsuch even warned that presidents might try to pardon themselves on the way out the door to avoid such prosecutions. Under the legal rule that Gorsuch, as many of his colleagues are considering, however, such a pardon will be unnecessary because the president will be almost entirely above the law, including potentially a president like Trump, who has already shown his eagerness to destroy the constitutional government for his own personal gain. Boy, they are something else. And we know how these articles right here get, especially when sometimes these articles are like written by people or by the left that don't like Trump. You know, they like to throw their own little shots in there to Donald Trump. You know, a lot of times they hate to write these type of articles where they got to get Donald Trump his props and just show that Jack Smith is not looking good in this case. So obviously it was a article from a leftist. So like I said, they're gonna throw their jabs and say Donald Trump is this. They're gonna let him back in office so he can do this. He's a criminal. They're gonna throw jabs up, and they gotta mix some stuff in there because they don't want the article just to look real good. You know what I'm saying? So they always do that. So we ain't studying that right there, but we do know that Jack Smith was mad after the first hearings. Well, we shall see exactly what's going to happen. I will keep y'all updated with everything. Like I said, be sure to hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.